What is going on, guys? Art here off the Dome Media Group, coming to you today with a video about usertesting.com. Now, if you're new to the channel, I make videos about how I earn money both online as well as offline, and how you can potentially take advantage of that and earn you some extra cash also. So in this one, what I'm talking about is how to prepare for a moderated test. So now, with usertesting.com on the platform, they have two types of tests basically. There's a moderated test and an unmoderated. Moderated, you actually talk with someone. It could be one-on-one, it could be two, it could be three people in the meeting. They're done through Zoom, so you will need Zoom on your mobile phone, whatever device, your mobile device, your tablet, your phone, laptop, desktop. So anyway, a moderated test is basically where you're doing a one-on-one conversation or having conversations with researchers or interviewers about a particular product, a service, a website, an app, things of that nature. The other type of test is unmoderated. Unmoderated is done through the website. There are a list of questions that you have to go through. You may sometimes have to go through prototypes of an app or a website, tests, features, functions, things like that. Give your opinion. But again, going back today with this one, we're talking about how to prepare for moderated tests. My process, which works for me, and it may work for you, but take what I give you and you can improve upon it. You can use it as it is, but it's a starting point, okay? You take a screener just like you do with anything else. If you pass the screener, you'll get a message that says, congratulations, you qualify for this particular moderated test. Then they'll ask you to provide availability. So you click on the link and it'll ask you to provide availability, and it'll be a calendar that's pre-filled with the specific dates and times that the researcher has allocated to talk to people about this particular topic. You click on one that works for you. Now, whatever date you pick, whatever you click on, make sure that you can adhere to it, that you can keep it, because you don't want to get dinged. If you have to cancel, you can cancel. There's no problem. Obviously, if something major happens, so be it. But for all practical purposes, make sure you pick a date that you can keep. Okay, that's the first thing. When you click on the date, one or two things is going to happen. You may get a message that'll say that particular test is done, or you need to something to the effect of, I can't quote it specifically verbatim, but it's something along the lines of test are first come, first serve, this, that, and the third, whatever. And basically what it's saying is that particular slot, that time slot for that particular day is no longer available. Sometimes you'll get, when you go in the schedule, you may have one day in that week, there may be one slot left, and it'll only be one date, one time, say Thursday at 5:30 p.m. That may be the only thing. Whereas other times you may have time slots from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. You can take your pick of whichever one you want. But my point to this is that when you click on it and you get that message saying they're first come, first serve, don't worry about it. Don't panic. That means it was gone. It wasn't available. Now, if it was only one slot, then you missed out on that one, but it wasn't your fault. But if there were other slots available and that was the one that was most convenient for you, and you click on it and it's not available, you'll get that message. Then it'll take you back to the screen, to your dashboard. Generally speaking, what will happen if there are other dates and times that are available, that message will pop up again asking you to confirm your availability. So you're not exactly kicked out of it. You haven't lost out on it. Click the blue button again to provide availability. It'll go back to the calendar. Now, you may still see that same date and time that you clicked earlier, but you already know it's not available. So you want to pick whatever your second choice would be. Let's say the second time you click it, it's available. You click on it, it'll show you a confirmation screen, okay? And it'll give you some instructions. It'll show you the specific date and time with some setup things and what you need to do to kind of prepare. You click that, and once you do that, it'll go back to your dashboard, and then you'll have at the top across the bar, at the top of your screen across the bar, it'll show you the test that you just confirmed for with the date, the time, and so forth. And then you'll have a cancel link there if you need to cancel, whatever. At that point, what I generally do, now this is where the prep work really starts. You want to remember what you did. You want to remember what that survey was about, because you may schedule this moderated test. It may be a week, it may be 2 weeks in advance, but ideally you want to, if the closest date that you can get to when you took it, you want to do that. So today is January 16th, for example. If they have dates that are available January 16th that day, take it. If it's January 16th at 2 o'clock and they have one that's later in the evening at 9 o'clock and you can do it, I would say do it for two reasons. One, you don't want to potentially miss out on money. If it's there, you don't have anything happening, why not do it? That's $30 or $60 that you can put in the pot. Secondly, the further out that you go, the more likely the possibility that it may get canceled. Now that does happen. Again, due to no fault of yours, but sometimes they get all the information that they need. They may feel like they need to go out, 20 days or do 300 studies, but they may get to a certain point where they feel like, okay, we have enough information, let's cut everything off. And then they'll cancel it. So I say that to say, always, whenever possible, when you get the test, when you qualify for a moderated test and it's a 30 or 60, maybe even a 90 or $120 test, take it as soon as possible to get rid of the possibility. Now it's still there, but you want to minimize the possibility that it may be canceled because they changed, they canceled the study because, okay, well, we have all the data that we need. Now, you never know why it happens, but sometimes it happens. Speaking of canceling also, sometimes they will cancel on you, not because they completed or whatever. We don't know why. What happens? Sometimes they overbook, things happen, they need to move things around. Well, what happens at that point, if the researcher or the company cancels, they will pay you something. Generally, it's not a whole bunch, but on the $30 test, it might be like $10 or something like that, whatever to make, it's like an inconvenience fee. It won't be the full amount, but they'll send you something and they'll let you know. Once it's scheduled, you have your date, your time. What I personally do, I use Google Calendar. Whatever you use, whatever your method is, use that, whatever works for you. If it's pen and paper, if it's a spreadsheet, whatever you use that. But what I do is I immediately, for me personally, I go to my Google Calendar, I go to that date and I go to that time. I put the test in there. The heading will be user testing, whatever the study may be. It may be, let's say, user testing study on lawnmowers. Then I go down there and then in the notes, I'll put the date and then I'll put the time. So it'll block it out in Google Calendar for me. Okay. For these, I use the color green because it's money. Makes sense, right? So I put those in there. I put the time in there. Then in the notes below, I know it's an hour study. For example, if it's from 3 to 4, I know that's an hour study. 1 hour or 60-minute studies pay $60. I already know that. But in the notes, I'll put $60. Then I'll actually put notes in there about what the study is about. If it was about lawnmowers, how often do I cut my grass? Do I use a gas or electric lawnmower? Whatever is fresh in my mind at that particular time regarding the screener that I took to qualify for that study, I put in my note. And the reason is that, number one, you don't want to forget. Because in the perfect world, okay, you might book up 3 or 4 of these. And outside of user testing in the real world, you have other things that are going on in your life. We're all busy. We all have stuff going on. But if it's on your calendar and it's there, okay, you just have user testing, this and that, you may not know what it's about. And this kind of goes to my personality that works for me, and it may work for you. You may think about checking it. I believe in getting ahead of things. And when I say getting ahead of things, I schedule as much as possible. I'm extremely spontaneous, but things like this, business and, money-making opportunities, I schedule them and I take as many notes as I possibly can, because if it's a week away, I know I got other stuff going on. If I have my notes there, so when it comes up, that week rolls around, let's say it's Wednesday and Monday rolls around, I see, okay, what's my week looking like? Okay, Wednesday, I have that coming. Tuesday, I may go back to the notes that I put down for that particular test, okay, just to refresh my memory. And I already know, let me kind of backtrack. And I covered this in the podcast with myself and Ken. I know I'm good for this screener. I know I can answer the questions because I would not have taken the screener. So I know that I can talk about lawnmowers because I own a lawnmower. I use a lawnmower. I'm not talking about something that I know nothing about. So I want to be clear when I say that. We're not taking notes because we're making things up or pretending. We're taking notes so we can have things fresh in our minds so that we can get in the zone. And that's a whole different thing with respect to, let's think about it, going to an interview, like a job interview or talking. You want to talk intelligibly about something. You want to be able to have a conversation. In order to do that, you want to put yourself in the right state of mind. That's what the notes are for. If it's at 10 o'clock, usually I'm looking at it from the previous day. I'm looking at Wednesday to see what I have. Tuesday, I'm looking at Wednesday to see what I have to do in general, not just user testing, but then I see, okay, user testing, 1 hour moderate. Okay, what was that about? Oh yeah, this lawnmowers. How often do I cut my grass? Okay, I'm good. Then when Wednesday comes around, okay, let's say if it's 12 o'clock, I do what I have to do. Then I get ready for that. At 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock, I may go ahead and, okay, prepare everything. Get your laptop, your desktop together. Get your lighting situation together. Get your microphone prepared. Don't do anything last minute because you want to be in the right frame of mind. Reason being is because when it's time to sit down and talk to them, it's showtime. Again, you're not making anything up. You're not acting. You're not pretending. You're being yourself, but you want your personality to come through when you're talking to them, which will give them the feedback that they're looking for. And that's what they're paying you for, good feedback. In order to do that, you need to be able to talk about it, to converse about it, and share your thoughts and so forth. So when you do that, it puts them in a good space. They're happy. You get paid and you get good reviews. You get a 5-star review. To that point, and looking at the screenshot here, you see we have two. I did a $30, which is a 30-minute test. I think that was one day. And then the next day, I did a 60-minute or $60 moderated test, both one-on-one. But if you see on the $60 test, I got a 5-star review. I didn't do anything special, but everything that I just told you I did. And I do it each and every time. You be consistent, which goes to what I always say, be consistent. That's the first thing I always say. I do this over and over again. And so the more good reviews you get, the more the algorithm likes you, screens get pushed out, which increases the odds of you getting more tests and so forth. Now, they may do a survey or do, other tests down the line. Many times I've had them ask questions, hey, we're doing this, and this. Would you be okay with a follow-up, another 1-hour follow-up? Or we have this doing, or we have that. I can't tell you how many times that's happened where one moderated test will lead to another opportunity. You always want to be presenting yourself. You always want to be on your A game when you go into these. So that's kind of like my process. Take out what's useful for you. Apply it to your life and how you do this with respect to user testing. And I know you have a life outside of user testing, but user testing could potentially become a nice integral part of it if you're able to do some things consistently, add some cash to your pot and pay some bills or make some investments and things of that nature. So in wrapping this up, that's my overall process. That's how I prepare for moderated tests. And the short of it is kind of recapping it, write it down, put it in your calendar, wherever you take notes of what it's about so you remember. So when it's time to go into it, you can put it fresh in your mind. Be prepared. Don't rush beforehand. Sit down, have your tea, your coffee, your beer, whatever. Don't overdo it, whatever the case may be. But get comfortable, get in the right state of mind, and then it's showtime. It's just like an interview. Have fun with it. Talk to them. Be energetic. Ask them questions that are relevant to what's going on. Be interested in what's going on. And that's pretty much it. It's not rocket science. It's basically you being yourself, letting your personality come through and taking care of the business. As I always say, be patient, be consistent, and you can make some cash. Peace.